This is a quick little video showing you the Markfish unit which I've got from Australia. It links the Furuno Sounder through to my Lowrance Plotter. I tried to purchase one from my local marine electronics outfit, Bay Marine Electronics, a few years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago. They were going to charge $400 for it. And they're only going to sell it to me if I got them to actually do the wiring. They weren't prepared to sell it to me if I wasn't prepared to get them to do the wiring. So I asked them at the time what it would cost, and they said 7 to 10 hours at $100 plus an hour. At the time it was a bit out of my budget, so I didn't do it. And then earlier this year I chased them up thinking I'll investigate that again. They no longer sell it, and they told me they had no success at hooking the Furuno up to the Lowrance with the Markfish. They more implied that it wouldn't work. And as you can see on the video, which I'm going to show you, it works bloody well. The Markfish links the Furuno up to the Lowrance. So yeah, it was a bit of a shit advice I got from Bay Marine Electronics. But yeah, this video is in part to show you a bit about the settings I've got in here. So if anyone else has got trouble setting it up, they can copy the settings if they want. The wiring diagrams that came with the unit are pretty good, but the setting instructions weren't very good. Here we are, dragging a few lures. I'll pick up the skipjack tuna. On the way back from there on, you can see me in the distance. Slowly trolling back towards Mount Longanui. Mount Longanui, one of us. Just going to show you this Markfish unit I got, what it does. See on the sounder here, a little blob of fish. If I hit the mark button, it locks the screen up, and I can put the cursor on it. See how I'm moving the cursor to the left there? I'm down right on it. Got a little blob of fish down there. We have a look at the chart over here. The chart shows nothing. Hit mark again. In theory, you get a waypoint on the chart. Heads up. It's not too bad because it's a Lowrance unit. Lowrance and Furuno don't talk to each other. There's some clever Australian has come up with this little device called Markfish, and forked out my 280 Aussie dollars, got it posted over here, and hooked it up. Bit of a muck around, but we got there in the end. It seems to be working quite well. The little Markfish device, I've actually got it sitting in behind the dash down here, and I've actually got it wired up so that it comes on when I hit the instrument switch on down there. There's not too much of a current being taken out by the instrument switches, just the Garmin and the BEP monitors there. The reason I've done that is because I've heard of some people that have been hooking the Markfish up to the depth sounder or the GPS units, and the transducers have been sucking a lot of current out of it and causing issues with it. So yeah, I've just got it hooked up to the instrument, and when the power goes on the instruments, I've always got the power on the instruments, the power goes to the Markfish unit. Yeah, so I'm just going to show you where I've got it rigged up. It's in behind the dash, so we're just going to come inside the cabin. I've got all my gear in here, and I've normally got one of these covers up here, it's down, and I'll get a torch on because it's a bit dark in here, and hopefully you can see that little unit in the back there. And just to give you a little bit of scale on how small it is, I'm going to whack a little ballpoint pen up there, and you can possibly see it's only about half the size of a ballpoint pen, so it's a pretty small little unit. I've wired it up a little bit differently to what Markfish does or advocates. They send you these little heat shrink crimps. What I've done is I've got a connector bar down there, and on one side I've got the NMEA cables from the Furuno coming in. On the right hand side, as you look at it, on the left hand side we've got the cables going out to the and in from the Lowrance unit, and there's also the cables from the Markfish unit going in and out of here. So I've got both these units running at the moment. I'm just going to qualify that neither of these units have the transducers hooked up at the moment, and if I've got the units operating in the shed as I have at the moment, I always disconnect the transducer cables. I'm just going to run into the Lowrance unit. I'm just going to show you the settings I've got in here. I found that the Markfish instructions were pretty good for wiring, but I thought that the instructions for the settings were pretty average. So I've just gone into the settings menu, scrolling down into the network, and then I'm going to go into the NMEA 0183. So that's set. So it will receive waypoints, and the serial output is on, and the serial ports set so that COM port 1 is at 4800. That's the baud rate, and that's what you need if you're going to talk to the Furuno. So I'm just going to get out of there. And the other thing, I went into the NMA 2000 and set it up so it'll receive waypoints, send waypoints. That's something I think I picked up one of those Aussie iFish sites. So that's how I've got the settings set up in the Lowrance unit. Just going to get out of there. And Mr. Furuno and his system, we're going to go into the menu there. This is a bit more straightforward. I'm going to go down into the NMEA. So that's set at version 2. Port is set for in and out, and I actually think the instructions said in, but when I tried that it wouldn't work. Yeah, so it could be in, but and out's the answer. NMA output's off, WAS is off, and then the TL output is set as TLL as opposed to Furuno TLL. So yeah, that's the settings I'm using on these two units, and as you'll see on the bit of video when I was offshore back in February, it's been working really well. Unfortunately the weather's been shit all March and most of April, and we haven't been on the water for a while. I'm just going to show you this Markfish function we've got here. It communicates between the Furuno and the Lowrance. Just put it on the boat last week. The local electronics guys reckon it wouldn't work between the Lowrance and Furuno. They told me it only works with Garmin units, and they'd only sell it to me if I got them to fit it. So they were prepared to sell it to me for $400, and then they were going to charge me 7 to 10 hours fitting time. Anyhow, I got one of these Markfish units in directly from Australia, and I fitted it myself. The wiring was pretty straightforward, but the settings were a little bit of a mark. Anyway, I'm just going to show you how the Markfish works. I hit the mark button on the Furuno, it actually locks the screen. You can see the screen's locked. Now if I move the cursor on there, you should be able to see it moving down there. There's a little bit of colour on the bottom, you need a proper Cherokee sign. I'm going to put it on that Cherokee sign. If we go over to the Lowrance Plotter, see what happens if I hit the mark again on the Furuno second time, and you can see a waypoint has shown up on the Lowrance chart plotter. Just going to zoom in a bit. You can see that's behind us a bit, and one or something like that. And on the Furuno, it's saved as a waypoint.